So yes, today I was sent a video of a new angle of Mike Perry and Eddie Alvarez's little scuffle at BKFC Knucklemania 6 popping off. It's the best angle we've seen, and it's from the beginning. It's of the exact moment Eddie Alvarez and his team jumped Mike Perry. All right, so kid in the white shirt, Eddie Alvarez's son. All right, kid in the white button-down shirt, Eddie Alvarez's son. You're looking at Mike Perry right here. You're looking at Eddie sitting down next to his son right here, and you're looking at Mike Perry's manager. Forget his name, but he's from First Round Management. He used to manage George Masvidal. In fact, Masvidal kind of hates this guy now. But let's take a look at how things popped off, because a lot of people were saying, Mike Perry dissed Eddie Alvarez's son's girlfriend. I'm going to spoil it for you right off the back. It's true. All right, Mike Perry dissed Eddie Alvarez's son's girlfriend. Eddie Alvarez's son started popping off on him. Mike Perry was looking over at Eddie being like, yo, you going to do something, homie? You going to do something, homie? Mike Perry, a few drinks deep, decides to pop off on Eddie Alvarez's son after his son continuously talks shit to him, I think he's bringing up his DV allegations with his ex, Danielle Nickerson. All right. And yeah, that's the story. That's kind of the story. Mike Perry said something to Eddie Alvarez's son's girlfriend. Eddie Alvarez's son starts defending his girlfriend, going off on him, starts saying stuff about his DV allegations with his ex Danielle, and then Mike Perry starts mouthing off to the son now, dissing the girlfriend further. All right, so here's the footage of it popping off, and then we're going to look at what Eddie said to this, because Eddie saw the video, and Eddie issued a statement himself. Now, Mike Perry also just dropped a response to it on Overdogs. So we're going to look at all of it right now, but let's peep the new footage.
Oh yeah!
And you can see, I mean, the female's getting active in the blonde. Eddie's son was getting active instantly. Eddie was getting active, and the rest of the squad was getting active on Mike. Everybody, a full family affair, beating down on Mike.
Mike Perry. They fucked Mike Perry up. They fucked Mike Perry up.
You see the blood splatter on the ring. Philly fans are definitely insane. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to do is we're going to do some trivia, see how much you know. We're going to throw it down the screen, and I'm going to ask you what the best fight city in the world is. This is an easy one. Is it A, Los Angeles?
So this is how everything popped off. Now you see it. Now, Mike Perry issued a statement. We're going to listen to it in a minute here, but we might as well read Eddie Alvarez's statement first. But before we do that, Phil Rowe reacted to this, and he goes, at Eddie Alvarez. He tagged the wrong Eddie, by the way, so I had to tag the right Eddie. But Phil Rowe said, this is super lame. Mike's by himself. You're in Philly with your people. So Phil Rowe not happy with Eddie Alvarez for jumping Mike Perry in Philly. Full disclosure, Phil Rowe, Mike Perry, they're boys. They're training partners, so of course he's going to take his back. But, I do get where Phil's coming from, regardless of them being training partners. I do get where he's coming from. And then just before we get into the statements issued, let's just go over all the angles that I've got for you guys of the brawl. Here's a couple more angles of it for you. Okay, here's one angle. You can see them here. You know that Mike's in that green jacket right there, beating down on him. Mike's manager not doing shit. Pussy ass. No offense. But I mean, get active, homie. So here's this video.
That's Mike Perry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you see the blood splatter on the ring. Philly fans are definitely insane. Ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do is we're going to do some trivia, see how much you know. I'm going to throw it up there on the screen, and I'm going to ask you what the best fight scene in the world is. This is an easy one. Is it A, Los Angeles? B, Philadelphia? C, Las Vegas?
Okay, so Mike's immediate reaction to everything. This isn't what he said today, but this was his immediate reaction. I think he posted this on social media Saturday night and then on Sunday. So Mike said, was an eventful weekend at Bare Knuckle. A lot of animosity in this game. Tough challenges. Train hard and try to make them look easy. Then he added, they welcomed me to Philly as one of their own, and that floor was slippery as heck, and his wife fell on her face, and I laughed at her looks like I was just down underneath everybody slipping for the first minute. Told y'all eventful. So yeah, Mike did eventually react to it on Sunday once footage surfaced. Now that more footage has surfaced and the fact that Mike Perry got a podcast, you know, he reacted to it once more and he gave more information on what happened. Before we get into Mike, here's what Eddie Alvarez had to say. Let's go to Eddie Alvarez's story. So here's what Eddie Alvarez had to say, right? He reposted the video that we posted today, and Eddie Alvarez said this: there is way more to this story than you all know. This was my wife and kids and family fighting here with me. You all know the person I am, and I'm not sorry for this. It was deserved, and he asked for it. Or it was deserved and asked for. Ask Mike, and he will agree. I'm glad Mike's okay and nobody got hurt. You can't fuck with someone's family and expect shit to be cordial. If you knew the story, you would understand. So, this is what Eddie Alvarez had to say. Then somebody else, Eddie's quote tweeting someone else saying, no real parent would ever let someone be that disrespectful to their son or brother. This is both our sons. He bought that family over everything. We were nothing but nice to him when he got there, or when we got there. Okay, so I think this is this is Eddie Alvarez's wife. Eddie Alvarez's wife here reacting to it. And then here is the footage of them seeing each other, pulling up on each other, upon first glance at BKFC before everything popped off.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, bro? Good. How are you? Good to see you boys, man.
So it was all cool, no animosity. And why would there be animosity? Because Mike beat his ass already in BKFC. So of course Mike wouldn't be butthurt about anything, But that's what happened there. And then let's go to see Mike Perry's statement that he issued now. Because, Eddie Alvarez saying if you knew what Mike said, if you knew what actually happened, you would understand. Even Mike would agree. He had it coming. Okay. Well, then let's hear it from Mike's mouth himself. What happened? What happened?
None of them started throwing punches until I fell down. What happened was, I was sitting there with that hat on. I got bumped from behind. I was in the front row. I turned around like, hey, excuse me. It was Eddie Alvarez's son's girlfriend. I said, excuse me, watch out or something. And then the son kind of leans in and I was talking to her. So that pissed him off. He was talking, then the wife just keeps screaming and yelling at me. And I was like, look, I'm sorry. So then the son gets on me about my family, and he's saying, look, little hotheads can, say some shit. I'm looking at Eddie with a side eye, like, are you gonna get either one of them before I start cussing at them and stuff? I'm getting mad. I'm lit. I was lit when I got there. So when the kid said that to me, I got a little heated. He got to me, I guess. I said, like, you're gonna have to get used to that. People gonna speak to her or something. That's when Eddie got up and pushed me really hard. And it's like I just slipped. None of them started throwing punches until I fell down. I didn't know who any of these people were. I didn't even realize that many people was doing that. I wasn't really getting hit. And then this one guy comes, tries to knock him out, almost knocks out the girlfriend. You know, I said something to his son to disrespect his son or whatever because he pissed me off. Eddie was doing what a dad should do, and he wasn't really trying to get me on the ground. I don't think from angles I saw he wasn't really trying to get in there. He was kind of trying to. I didn't have any boys. I'd be dolo. I'd be solo. I was next to my manager, and at first he was like this, but then he kind of just got body pushed out. And it's okay because I'm the fighter. You know, I'm used to it. None of them started throwing punches until I fell down. What happened was.
So, I mean, the way Mike explains it, the girlfriend kind of bumped into him. Mike was teed up. He probably shouldn't have said anything in the first place. Let's keep it a buck, right? Let's keep it a buck. Mike probably shouldn't have said anything in the first place, but he was a bit teed up. So the girl bumps him. He says something. I don't think he realized that that was Eddie Alvarez's son's girlfriend. Okay. But, you know, it makes sense. Eddie Alvarez's son wanting to pop his shit at Mike. I mean, you know, he's Eddie Alvarez's son. If you don't know anything about Eddie Alvarez, they call him the Underground King. All right. He got some of the most street fights out of all fighters in history. I mean, this guy comes from Philly, a notorious street fighter from Philly. All right. Turned UFC fighter, UFC champion. Eddie Alvarez, he legit. And I mean, his son probably cut from his cloth. So, of course, if Mike Perry does shout something to his son's girlfriend, and with it being the fact that, you know, Mike already beat his daddy's ass, of course, the son was chomping at the bit to fucking get at Mike. And yeah, Mike just explained it. You know, the son starts mouthing off to him, starts speaking about his past issues with his ex-girlfriend, you know, with some alleged DV or something like that. Who knows if it's true, but there's definitely allegations. Look into it. I'm not here to fucking explain it. But, you know, then essentially the way it all started to pop off was Mike said, listen, bro, you know, get used to it. Get used to it. You're going to have to deal with shit like that. People are going to be talking to your girl, you know, as you grow up and as you become a man, as you're navigating, you know, yourself through the wild. You and your girl walking out in the wild, this shit's going to happen more often. You're going to yell at everybody who has something to say about it, and boom, it popped off. Now, I don't know. Eddie Alvarez making it seem like it was way worse of a thing that was said, and all Mike said is you're going to have to get used to it. It sounds like that's real life advice. You know, what are you going to do? Fight everybody who tells your girl to watch out, so to speak? So that's all Mike was telling him. It was kind of some real life advice. I don't see what warrants, you know, Mike to or Eddie to get up and just shove him. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. You know, I think Eddie would have been better off just being like, hey, it's getting too fucking hot now. Separate. You know, but you got his son in there. Eddie did lose to Mike already. He probably didn't want to feel like a bitch, so he chose to pop it off. I get it. I get it. Is he right for doing it? No. But do I get it? I mean, I get it. I get the pressure of the whole situation. You know, I get it. I get it. So that's pretty much the story there. Who knows if BKFC or the arena where this fight took place, if anybody's gonna press any charges, because that kind of thing did happen with you know, that brawl between Dylan Dennis and Team Makhachev at MSG for I think UFC 323. So I wonder if anybody in the arena or the mayor or the promotion, anybody's going to press charges. Probably definitely not the promotion. If anything, the mayor or the owners of the venue. But yeah, that's the story. That is the story. Honestly, it seems like they don't even care about it. If I could just say, bro, it seems like they don't care about it. I know it happened, but if you were to ask me, what do you think would happen if Eddie and Mike see each other right now today? I bet you they'd laugh about it and let bygones be bygones. I doubt that Mike's even really that pissed that he got jumped. I doubt that Eddie's that pissed at Mike, you know, for saying what he said to his son. It just was a heat of the moment type of thing. I honestly don't even think they care that much. 80 says, Jacob, you can tell Mike Perry is telling the truth and Eddie is the one bullshitting on the media channels now. Yeah, I mean, I think Eddie is Eddie's making it seem like Mike said something worse than he actually said, and I don't think Mike said anything that bad. But with that being said, with the heat of the moment and with Mike, constantly clapping back at Eddie's son and Eddie's son just having a fucking mouth on him. All right. Eddie's son having a mouth on him like that is the equivalent of like, this is why dudes with girlfriends need to teach them to like kind of shut up. When they're out in public and shit like that, the last thing a guy needs is for his fucking girl to start mouthing off to someone talking tough. And that's exactly what Eddie's son did right here. His little pipsqueak son, no offense, but his son's a fucking pipsqueak. Look at him. All right, his little pipsqueak son mouthing off because his daddy's tough, right? And look what happened. He got his fucking dad in a fight. This is the same thing. That's what I just mentioned. If you got a girlfriend, the last thing you need is for her to be fucking acting tough on your behalf, mouthing off to another man, only for you to fucking have to step in and fight for her. That's exactly what happened here. So, I mean, yeah, Mike was mouthing off at the son, clapping back at him. But, I mean, the son was fucking saying some out-of-pocket shit, bringing up Mike's old relationship and how there was some DV allegations because Mike told his girlfriend to not, bump into him. It wouldn't have really started. Yes, Mike shouldn't have said that to the girlfriend. Just let it be, dude. She bumped into you. She's a fucking girl. Let it be. What I'll say is that he was a couple drinks deep, and that's why he fucking didn't let it slide. It is what it is, bro. That just is what it is. He's wrong for that, though. He's wrong for even saying something to her, in my opinion. Now the son doubles down on the wrongs, starts mouthing off to him, starts bringing up the DV allegations with his ex. So now we're doubling up. And then Mike's going to triple Mike's going to triple down or triple up, and he's going to start disrespecting the son now, right in front of his dad's face. So that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Who you guys want to blame, you guys can blame them all you want. That's what happened, though. So that's that whole story. We'll get some, oh, you want me to replay it one more time, Tyler Betts? One more time.
Out of the way. Come on. Oh, yeah. They jumped the shit out of Mike Perry. They fucked Mike Perry up. They fucked Mike Perry up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you see the blood splatter on the ring. Philly fans are definitely insane. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'd recommend to do is we're going to do some trivia, see how much you know. We're going to throw it down the screen, and I'm going to ask you what the best fight city in the world is. This is an easy one. Is it A, Los Angeles?
Nah, Tyler Betts is saying slow-mo. Who made first move, though? Who made the first move was Eddie. Eddie made the first move. Look, so I'll just play it with no sound. But Eddie made the first move. Once Mike clapped back at his son, Eddie stood up and shoved him. Check it out. Eddie made the first move. See, boom. Eddie stood up and shoved him. Then Mike went after him. Then they all jumped in and started beating on him. Even the fucking wife, bro. Even the fucking wife is crazy. But honestly, that shouldn't come as any surprise because Eddie's wife literally is notorious for screaming and yelling throughout his fights. Like every second of his fight. Like the craziest screaming and yelling you ever heard. Eddie Alvarez's wife. So that's what popped it off right there. That's the story.